Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Thursday edition of the JP Peterson Show. I am fresh back from training camp this morning. Nick Geddes, I'm sure, can attest to that by just the smell. It was hot out there this morning. Good morning to you, Nick. How are you?
It's funny you say that because first thing you rolled in here, and I'm like, there is a stench rolling in from Mr. Peterson this morning.
It's not that bad, is it?
It's a little. Okay. It ain't great, I tell you that.
It's a little ripe.
It doesn't appear that we had a nice chilly day today like we did yesterday.
No. It was Africa hot out there today, as it should be. Absolutely. And we got a peek of our first Brady to Julio. Nobody guarding him. Place went wild, but we got to see Julio wearing 85. Huh? Yeah,
that's gonna have to change.
It will change.
That's gonna have to change.
It will change. It's definitely not gonna be 85. But how cool is it of Julio Jones to come in and not make us think about what number he's gonna wear and go got to go buy out somebody in this whole thing? He's just like, no, just give me a number.
It's on brand. It's on brand.
It's totally on brand for Julio. It was funny. I had a couple of the buddies of mine ask, like, hey, what's Julio like? Is he like AB and stuff? And I'm like, no, he's not. He's not even close. Just people who just tangentially follow football,
Okay.
It's just,
I say you got to be living under a
big
rock.
time receiver. Got to be a diva. They all are.
No.
And I'm like, no, not Julio. Not Julio.
Him and Calvin Johnson, I always thought, and Larry Fitzgerald.
Yes.
That three of this generation.
And oddly enough, Calvin and Julio, I think grew up not far from you. They both grew up in Alabama and Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know about Fitz, but these they're just yes sir, no sir, super polite, just outstanding role models in every way, shape, or form. And that's why I think the Bucs really targeted Julio from the very beginning. And Julio had some other options. Green Bay had inquired. The Falcons had inquired. The Saints had inquired. I'm sorry, not the Falcons. The Saints had inquired. A lot of teams were looking at Julio. And I'm guessing, quite frankly, that he was offered more money to go other places. Even though we thought, 6 guaranteed up to 8 is the deal. I thought was a little bit much for a guy that hasn't played much in the last couple of years. He's had a lot of injuries, obviously getting older, but it's the second day of training camp. He looked good. He's striding. He looks fantastic.
I think the reports where it was down between him and the Packers and the Bucs were the two most interested teams.
Mm-hmm.
And you may go, oh, well, the Packers, they have a big hole there. Maybe he'd want to go there. He could be more of what he's been for his entire career. Yeah. But then I listened to him talk yesterday. He had an answer of it. We'll play it a little bit, but he's a Southern boy.
Yeah.
Alabama, Georgia. The furthest he's ever gone was to Nashville.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that. He's like, I get to stay home and everything.
Absolutely.
When I heard that, I was like, 0% chance he was going to play in Green Bay.
Yeah. So it was just great to see him out there and just easy striding. I mean, he's got easy speed, and he's probably going about 75%, as he should, out there right about now. You don't want him going at 100%, but he's effortless in making his cuts. It just looked like the old Julio Jones that I'd seen in practice in Atlanta many, 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 many times. He's not the same player. That's not what I'm saying. But if we're thinking that he's kind of broke down and, he's got a hitch in his giddy up, no, he looks smooth. He looked great. He's just, he's Julio. He's an ultimate professional. And I'll tell you what, a couple of times they came out in that set with Julio, Mike Evans, and Russell Gage, and you're like, and Rudolph at tight end, Lenny in the backfield. Okay. All right. Okay. Good luck with that. And a damn good offensive line. That's, if you're a defensive coordinator, how are you attacking that? Who are you? Who's the third corner guarding in that situation? And who is your third corner? Good luck with that.
That's the thing with bringing in a Julio Jones is off of name value alone, you have to keep yourself honest with him.
Yeah.
You have to. And knowing that he's not going to probably get 80% of the snaps or even 70, maybe not even 60, you're expecting a much fresher Julio as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Russell Gage is a bigger receiver, and he I didn't realize how quick he is and how fast he is. They were running a little stutter route at the goal line, and I got some great video. I'm going to put it up a little bit later on. And so you can really see how guys run routes, how good they are at their deception at this one particular route. And Gage is good. He's really good. Scotty Miller as well. Got a nice close-up of him. He's hard to guard in those situations. He's so quick out of his breaks, with like kind of a Hunter Renfroe type, Amendola type, Edelman type. They can all white receivers. I get it, but just really, really good route running and great hands. So you're high on Scotty Miller. I think if you're a fantasy guy, late pick, it might be something to look into. Kyle Rudolph, by the way, tight end number 1. I think he'll be a top 5-7 tight end this year.
Ooh, in fantasy?
Yeah.
Ooh, I can't go there.
Yeah.
I can't go there.
Well, obviously the fly in the ointment there is Gronk. Is he coming back? If Gronk doesn't come back, Rudolph is having 75 catches, eight touchdowns, 890 yards.
I just don't know if he's that player anymore. I don't think he's going to necessarily replace Gronk's just catches and everything. I know.
Well, I got to see him. I haven't gone back and looked at the Giants tape from last year, but look at what he's working with.
He was also too playing in a backup role behind Evan Ingram, and he was probably more hand in the dirt because Evan Ingram's not a great blocker.
He's probably blocking a lot.
He's probably doing a lot of blocking
protection because their offensive line was so awful.
Regardless, I mean, they were starting Jake Fromm by the end of the year there. So,
but I can't tell you, but just eyeballing him out there, he's huge. He's humongous, and he moves with such effortless ease. He's really, really smooth for as big as he is. Hey, he's a 2-time Pro Bowler. He's no chump. I mean, I understand he's 33, but just straight out, he moves and he's smoother than Gronk.
He looks. And
I'm not telling you he's better than Gronk. That's not what I'm saying. Well,
I'm going to worry about who's on the team at the moment. Did he look better than Cam Braid out there?
Oh God, yes.
Okay.
And Cam looks good. Cam's in great shape. He looks really, really good. He's a great pass catcher, but I did not realize how fluid Kyle Rudolph is. I mean, maybe it's the slimming number 8. I don't know. The single 8.
The 8 makes everything great.
It just does.
It's kind of how, when Kyle Pitts was at Florida?
Yes.
Okay. He wore the 84, and I always thought he kind of still had that meat on him.
Yeah.
He got that number 8, and now he looks super trim.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second. He definitely looked bigger at Florida.
Yeah. It makes a difference. Number. It makes a difference.
Which is I think Julio Jones, he might look blown up in the 85. I don't know.
He looks different. He looks like a practice player in 85, and then he starts running, and you see the name, and you're like, oh, that's Julio. Because 85 is kind of that, that high 80s.
That's such did John Mackey wear that number or Mike Ditka, one of those two? It's such an old school tight end number.
Was Ditka 86? 89, my bad. 89.
One of those numbers. It just screams tight end though.
Yeah, it does. And maybe that's what they're going to do with him. He's a big man. No, but he looks good. He looks fluid. Obviously we're not into the season and older player, but whatever you can garner from underwear football out there, and that's what you want to see. Are they moving good? Do they look fluid? And some of these younger receivers, Devin Tompkins is so fast in and out of breaks. Jalen Darden looks good, but I like just loving just the names and the character and I just don't. I think all of these guys got something left. This is not some ceremonial. Hey, let's go play with Tom Brady for his last year. No, these guys are here to win it. They're going out in a blaze of glory. That is their focus.
And if you're playing on a Tom Brady led team, I got news for you.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna fly if you're here just
ceremonial,
if you're here to just strictly ride coattails and think you're just gonna get a free ride to the Super Bowl.
No,
that ain't gonna happen here. And we've had many instances where we've known that didn't happen. Case in point, Leonard Fournette in the 2020 season, where Bruce Arians had to sit him down and be like, "Hey, you got to step up here, man."
Yep.
And it changed. It flipped for him, and he's been great ever since for this team. So, and I don't think the character they brought into this team, and we've been talking about, there's no drama. There's no holdouts. I mean, I'm seeing things now, guys around the league. I think Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf, Derwin James, they're at camp, but they're not practicing.
Right.
Which is just, to me, the most asinine thing I've ever heard.
And those are the best players on that team.
And they're not leading
by example.
Imagine
if Brady's holding out.
Yes.
Or Mike Evans is holding out. Imagine the drama that would be going on.
Yeah.
There's none of that here.
There's none of that here. The Bucs, honest, and a lot of that too is other teams really just, they're so apprehensive of taking care of their own players, and give the Bucs credit. they take care of their players and they get it done in a short time of frame to where when we get here, there's no problem with that.
Yeah, Jason Light is talking today, so we'll hopefully get some stories about how the Julio thing came to.
Do we got a Brady schedule coming soon?
I don't know. Have not heard.
Interesting.
Have not seen anything. So I would see probably next week for Brady, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, let's get into some of the sound from today and yesterday. By the way, we'll bring you some live interviews as well. We're monitoring the Bucs channel. We'll bring you live interviews as they come on today. But we've picked out some sound bites from yesterday. Nick worked very hard on this to go get this sound, so we have everything to play for you specifically. So I want to start with let's start with Kyle Rudolph. I think this is and I think you and I both were just struck by how professional this guy is, how dialed in he is. And again, you can see this is a veteran that is not coming here to just chill. He's coming here to work and win a Super Bowl with the greatest player to ever do it and catch passes from Tom Brady. So let's start with Kyle Rudolph. And he was asked about replacing Gronk.
Are way too big to fill, and I've got pretty big feet, so still you're never going to fill those shoes. But with that being said, yes, you can't fill those shoes, but I feel like there's so much ground to make up, and I don't have 10 years of experience with Tom to make it up. We played the Dallas Cowboys week 1 in September, and my goal is to go out there that week and be on the same page with Tom like we have been playing together for 10 years. So that's where I mentioned before. I told Tom, when you're sick of me, just tell me, because I feel like we're playing catch up in terms of the nuances of routes and how he wants things. So, just spending that extra time together, whether it's in the meeting room, watching tape, out here during individual periods or special teams. I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately for me, I've done this a lot over my career where you have to learn a new quarterback and learn how they like routes run or learn, where they want your body in certain positions. So I'm used to it, but certainly now more than ever, definitely feel like I'm playing catch up.
Yeah, I think with a veteran like him, that'll be short-lived. But it's the chemistry, obviously, that they've got to develop, and that's going to develop more in games, some of the joint practices as well. So, I don't think Kyle Rudolph was going to be as big a part of the offense early on in the season. But as the season goes along, I think you're going to see him more and more become a bigger part of it as he gets the chemistry down with Brady. All right, that's the next question. Playing with Tom Brady.
It's certainly exciting. I mean, it's unmatched, the success that he's had in this league. Obviously, he's had an unbelievable run with tight ends throughout the course of his career. So just being able to, I already told him last night after meetings, I'm like, when you get sick of me, just tell me. I'll give you your space. But until then, just constantly, because it's one thing to learn the offense. And, that's been I feel like I'm back in college and I'm cramming for an exam, trying to learn as much as I can, go out and practice it. And now I got to go back in there and learn everything for tomorrow's practice. And it's one thing to know what your job is, but then it's another to know kind of the nuances. And yeah, the lines on the paper may say this, but here's how Tom wants it. And, today we had a couple missed opportunities. Just I've run something a certain way my whole career. And, he wants it a little bit different. And he's the first one to come over and, hit me on the head and tell me like, dude, we'll get that. Don't worry about it. Like, so there's a lot of catch up from that standpoint, but just to go to work every day and to be able to learn from somebody like that, who's not only had the success that he's had at his position, but the success that he's had with other tight ends. So it's a ton of fun. It's kind of, invigorating for my career to here I am at year 12. And yet I still feel like I'm, learning something new every day. And, you mentioned it has great opportunity to kind of take my career to a place that's never been before.
Yeah, I mean, you could just hear it in his voice. I mean, he's excited. He's engaged. And yeah, this is trial and error. That's just what training camp is for. But these are two veteran guys. It's not going to take 20 times for Brady to say, run the route this way. He knows what he's doing. And they'll get on the same page. I don't have any fear of that whatsoever.
Yeah, and listening to him talk about, how invigorating it is for his career here going to year 12. And we read off that quarterback list that this guy has played with.
Yeah.
And it's almost
Straight
remarkable at the fact that he
Yeah.
actually has made 2 Pro Bowls in
Yeah.
his career, honestly. And the other thing I started thinking about, I feel like more so than Cam Brate, probably Kyle Rudolph come in here. It's a great influence on Cade Otton because everything we've heard about Cade Otton has been jack of all trades. He is not great at anything. He's just good across the board at every skill. And I feel like that's kind of the same thing with Kyle Rudolph. And I feel like that, to me, more so than Cam Brate, is where he's going to get that veteran advice with Gronk not in there.
And Cade, it looks the part. He looks the part. He is smooth. I mean, you could see a couple of the other guys out. I tell you, who made a couple of nice catches today was Cody McElroy. He's athletic. He's athletic.
I thought they just waived Cody McElroy.
No, unless somebody else was wearing 82 this morning. I
got to double check that.
Yeah,
I
double check that.
I could have swore
I was
they
like, oh,
waived Cody
that's
McElroy.
80. That's 82.
Somebody
or maybe,
got cut.
maybe that's somebody else. I didn't read my roster sheet. Because athletic, no doubt about it, making some leaping catches in the end zone.
Yeah, he was waived a day ago.
So who's wearing 82?
He was 86. So who the hell's 82?
I thought that was Cody for some reason.
Was it my boy Kieft?
It might be. It might
Not really
be.
a catcher, but
yeah. So yeah, see, I got to learn all the new numbers out there. I thought that's what he was wearing last year. But anyway, there's guys that look the part, no doubt about it. And Cade Otton does. He looks the part. He looks like that guy.
J.J. Howland.
J.J. Howland.
From Yale. So we got a Yale tight end and a Harvard tight end on this team.
Yeah, he got a little he's got some hops.
So he's the new Tanner Hudson, basically.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Yeah. He's got some athleticism, no doubt about it. Got a little Kevin Kiermaier in him too. Maybe a little bit more dramatic than he needs to make it on this particular. As he goes up and snatches the ball. But fun watching those guys work out there. All right, one more from Kyle Rudolph. Why he chose Tampa Bay? I think I know why.
So for me at this point, in my career and what I was looking for in terms of a team, an organization, everything's about winning. The only thing I haven't done to this point is win a championship, and that's all I want to do. And it's been very evident the first 2 days here that that's the ultimate goal. Everything that we do individually or collectively as a team, collectively as an offense, is about reaching that ultimate goal. And, it's been stressed numerous times, obviously came up just short last year. But, you're kind of retooling the team each year, and now we got to start from ground zero and build back up to that. You don't just get the opportunity to be back in the divisional round. You have to earn it. And so for me, coming into a culture like that, to be around that type of vibe, that's what I was looking for. And certainly the obvious other reason was the quarterback and his play.
Who? Yeah. So it's great to have Kyle Rudolph on board, and obviously it's great to have Julio Jones on board. Hey, we love when you guys jump in and ask questions. You can always hit me up at FanstreamJP on Twitter. Please follow the show page at the JP Peterson Show, and you can watch us on Facebook and ask questions there.
And
we'll
YouTube,
get them.
YouTube
as well.
We're trying to push a lot more to YouTube, and we've just starting to grow there in our viewership and our subscribers. So please go to YouTube, JP Peterson Show. Yeah, and you can ask questions right here, like Lonnie Wilkins has done. I don't want to get to the Rays questions just yet because we're going to get to the Rays a little bit later on. So we'll hit you there. But Bucs Skull Gang in the house. Hot today, hot Bucs practice. Obviously, he was out there. Bucs practice was amazing today, he says. Plus Russell Gage, absolutely. Wonder who's going out. That's going to be a big deal. Like who are they going to cut? Because they've got some good young wide receivers that may not make this group. And Perriman seems like maybe an odd man out. Well, I thought Perriman was just brought in here as veteran, kind of like a veteran insurance, but ultimately he'd get beat out by one of these younger guys. That was why I thought he was here. But, it's the first day of camp, but I know the video going around yesterday, I think ESPN was even showing it, was the long pass from Brady to Perriman for the touchdown.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were still out there when that happened. That might have happened when we started our show.
Yeah.
But, he's obviously a guy who's at the point in this career where he's only ever really been good with the Bucs.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm not going to count him out yet, I guess. You can't really count anybody out. But,
No.
It's going to be tight to get down to 6 guys.
He doesn't look like he has a burst like some of the other guys, but he's a vet, so he's probably not doing much of that right now. Salary cap reason, not that he's making a lot of money, but we'll see. Obviously, Tom likes the veterans. He likes the veterans, but you got some good young burners, and they need some speed. Julio obviously is not the 4-3 guy he once was, but still can get down the field, no doubt. And Mike Evans is faster than people think, and he was so much faster last year and got deep. So it's not like these guys can't get deep. They're dual threats. Scotty Miller obviously can stretch the defense, but I think they want a guy either like Grayson or Tompkins who could really take the top off the defense with that 4-2, 4-3 speed.
Well, Grayson has the advantage, I'd say, because he had that nice little 2, 3, 4 game run, whatever it was.
Absolutely,
last year.
he does, and he looked good. He looks good. I mean, he runs really crisp routes for a guy that hasn't played a lot of football, didn't play in college.
The fact that he was able to get some trust with Tom Brady, because that's what it all goes back to, and I think that's why he comes into camp, and I think Scotty Miller comes into camp with a leg up on some of these other guys. So, I mean, Devin Tompkins, to me, he might be like a practice squad guy that you keep around and you just have a solid depth get in there. Jalen Darden, to me, is starting on the wrong foot, because I'm sure Tom Brady still remembers 9-0 trying to make it work with Jalen Darden.
Yep.
And he's like, I don't want this guy. So I think it's going to be harder for a guy like him to really, unless he has a fantastic camp in preseason, to really get on this team.
Yeah. All right, let's hear from Julio Jones. We played a bunch yesterday, but a couple of key sound bites from today. It's so good to see him out there working with Brady. Once again, I put up some video on Twitter if you want to see it. Brady and all the quarterbacks working with the receivers, been the first ever Brady to Julio connection. Here's Julio talking about why he chose Tampa Bay.
All along, once I got the call from Tennessee and they're saying I can go out and explore. Jimmy Sexton, my agent at CAA, we discussed some options, things like that. And I already told him where I wanted to play, so just being with a Hall of Fame quarterback, great quarterback, the coaching staff here is next door. I'm from Alabama. I played in Georgia, right? So it's right here. My family can come see me. I'm not going out the way, but just having the ability to come down here and just work, bring what I can to the team, whatever I can to the team to help, whether it's mentor, a play style, whatever the case may be, just coming out here and work each and every day and just try to get better.
Obviously, this is a great fit for him. It's home. It's in the South. He doesn't mind the heat, the quarterback situation, the coaching situation. It's just a perfect fit for him. Green Bay would have been square peg and round hole, if you ask me.
I thought the funny thing was the Bucs are signing Julio Jones to a deal, and a few hours later, it seems like the Packers, who had interest in Julio Jones, you know who they signed? Osiris Mitchell.
Huh?
He played in the USFL this year, and that's who the Packers went out to get, I guess, since they lost out on the Julio Jones sweepstakes. So it just shows you right there.
Okay, then. And oh, by the way, we don't think we talked about this on air yesterday before we played the other Julio bite. The OBJ was tweeting out something as soon as Julio got signed, right?
Just some weird, like, cryptic type stuff of like, he was like, I don't have it right in front of me, but he was like, thanks for the motivation, or thanks for the fuel. That's what it was. Thanks for the fuel. And he tweeted like I think 7 or 8 tweets, like just bang, bang, bang in a span of like 30 minutes to an hour. And it was literally in the same hour that Julio Jones was signed with the Bucs. And I'm just trying to read the tea leaves here.
Right.
And I looked, he doesn't tweet that often, especially like that. And it was just a lot of stuff about like his recovery and like coming back and putting his trust in here and there. It almost comes off like the Bucs might have been in discussions with him.
Oh,
and I'm sure they probably will. They have to, but
yeah, I hope they were.
But I'm sure again, there's a difference in bringing a Julio Jones and Odell. First things first, Odell wouldn't play till like November.
Exactly.
At the earliest, because he tore his ACL during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, about 2 months later than Godwin did, or about a month and a half.
He just got his Super Bowl, so he's worried about getting as much money as he can now.
Yeah.
Julio Jones has already made his money. Now he just wants his Super Bowl and is willing to take. I think OBJ, it was always blown out of proportion of being the diva, I think.
I think he was early on. I think the New York got to him. But
the New York, I think, made it more.
The late OBJ seems very committed.
Seems
he did
very
a
committed.
Great run with the Rams.
But there's always that. Because of what you were in the past, there's always going to be that stigma on you.
Yeah.
And I think Julio Jones, it's been so consistent.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, they're just two completely different guys at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. They are. And we made the right choice. There's no doubt about that. One more from Julio, what he needs to learn in this training camp.
The next couple of days for me is more so like, just getting everything handled inside the building, right? So you got to do the physical. You got to do all that before I can actually come out here and play and so on and so on. But I'm healthy. I'm 100% healthy. I don't have any issues, nothing lingering, holding me back, anything like that. But it's just the beginning. So I just had to check all those boxes first and then just come out here and play. Whether I got a little bit of the formations in today's install, but even if I don't, I mean, I still come out here and run routes. I mean, I know what an end cut is. I know what a slant is. I know what a hitch is. I know what go routes is. I know what all that is, right? So, like, just coming out here and just doing it over and over, I learn it. So I don't see no pressure on me as far as trying to figure out the offense. I just feel like just being out here and just getting the experience and running and timing.
Yeah, I think it was like Bruce Arians might have said it last year. I think in regards to bringing in veteran guys in the offense, it's like there's only so many ways you can run these routes and do it and disguise it. I mean, there's nothing this guy hasn't seen.
Right.
Like, I think everybody makes it like you always ask the question, how long is it going to take you to get up to speed? A guy like Julio Jones, I mean, to me, give it by the end of next week and he'll be pretty fluid with all this.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our observation from camp this morning, the quarterbacks were on the far field doing, I'm not exactly sure what they call this particular drill, but it looked like the power throws, the deep outs, the deep in cuts, the ones you really got to step into and rip and throw on a line as best you can. And here's 45-year-old Tom Brady out there. I mean, literally throwing the ball on a line. I mean, you could see the arc of his pass on this deep out. And I've got the video. I'm going to put it up later for you guys. I'll do a big video dump after the show on Instagram and on which will be on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So, I mean, it's just the arc of his ball is so much less, like on the deep out, which is about a 35-yard throw they were doing. I mean, he's just stepping into it and ripping it on a tight spiral. Boom. And then you see, Blaine Gabbert, who's, always been considered to have a really good arm. And once again, the arc is a little bit bigger, and then Kyle Trask a little bit bigger. And then Ryan Griffin even bigger. I mean, there is zero, and I mean zero drop off in his arm strength. So if anybody was waiting for that, it's age 45, so there'll be a little bit drop off. No, there's none. It's just as powerful and as accurate as it has ever been. He was throwing the deep ball as well, farther than any of the other guys. It's it's mind-boggling, because you would think a joint like that is just, for pitchers, and I mean, he's the freaking Nolan Ryan of football. It just doesn't get old.
I think it's kind of crazy though. Like, how many years ago did he start? Did he first say, "Yeah, I think I can play till 45"? Right? I swear he said that in 2013 or 2014 when he was like 37. Yeah. We're like, no freaking way this guy's playing the 45. And then it's like, you see all the video yesterday and it's like, no, it's here. Yeah. Like, he's 45 and he's playing.
And if you've seen him in his underwear commercials, the dude is, I mean, his body fat must be like 2 or 3%.
I did see he took a photo shoot in his new swimsuit.
Yeah. Saw that.
Which, by the way, do you see how short those things were?
It's short.
These thighs, these white thighs, will not be going in the Brady swim shorts.
Well, neither will these, but not because they're white or can't be shown. It's because I ain't paying $95 for a freaking swimsuit.
No, you won't catch me shopping at the Nordstrom in the special rack.
No. With the velvet ropes around it.
With the velvet ropes around it.
That's the best.
Here's
story
something
ever.
too. This is like, we haven't talked about this much, but it is important. There is a kicking competition going on. Jose Borregales, he was 6 for 6 on his field goal attempts, including one from 51 out.
Very nice.
So
this is per Pewter Report.
Yes, this is per Pewter Report. So I'm sure we'll talk about that as we get more into preseason, because we can see these guys in games, but that's also something to keep an eye on. There's no guarantee that Ryan Succop's our kicker week 1, because I think they really like the Borregales and they're giving him every chance to compete.
Yeah. Boy, that's risky.
It's risky because Succop was the first kicker that gave you stability.
Yes.
There's a reason why they kept Borregales around. I think it's a competition.
I hope not. When you have Tom Brady, give me the guy that's going to be 90%, 45 yards and in. That's all I want. Make your extra points. Give me 90, 95%. 45 yards and in. I don't care about long distance. I don't. I want the guy that I can count on that's going to make the field goal.
Under 40. If you can hit it under 40 consistently, and that's Ryan Succop's forte.
Exactly. It just
the Bucs, more often than not, the Bucs have always done a great job of getting into the red zone and making it economical.
And the new punter they have, we haven't even talked about that. You got the new young punter who also kicks off. So he's not going to have to kick off. So yeah, I don't mess with that. Yeah. Succop's been money. Man, he's been money.
I love watching all this video of Tom Brady throwing to Julio Jones. It's like they're not even in pads. There's nobody guarding him, but it's just cool.
See how smooth he looks?
He looks very smooth just on the eye. I mean, look at that.
Yeah. Stop, cut, en route.
Got to get that damn number off of him, though.
It looks so bad, doesn't it?
My gosh.
But it's so cool that he doesn't give a crap about it now.
No, of course he doesn't.
He's just going to wait till guys get cut and he'll get the number that he needs.
Mr. Trask, it's time to pay a rookie due in your second year. The 2 needs to go. The 2 is Julio's. It's coming. It'll come.
Yeah, it'll come, but not, don't make a big deal out of it, right? No. Absolutely. We're going to get to the Rays in our next segment, so I want to clean up everything here as far as Bucs go. No real big news today, but we got some people chiming in. Bucs Skull Gang in the house says Tom Brady can play till 50. He could play till 50 probably as a backup quarterback maybe, or just hanging out, but he ain't going to do that.
No, that ain't happening.
This is it, partner. I hate to say this, but this is it. And I'm treating it like that. Mario Christian says the biggest test from the offensive approach will come when the Bucs face the Rams, Saints, Packers, Ravens, Steelers, and 49ers defenses. Yeah, folks. I mean, are we optimistic about the Bucs? Hell yeah, but I'm still betting the under on 11.5 wins.
Oof.
I don't see them. It's going to be tough to get to 12, 13 wins with this schedule. It's brutal. It's brutal. The Bucs are great.
Yeah.
They're fantastic, but you just don't, the NFL is a 7-point league. It's a 1-possession league. And you're going to miss some field goals. You're going to have some balls batted up in the air. You're going to get some bad luck. Every team's going to give you their best. It's Tom Brady in his final year. You're not, and that doesn't mean they're not going to win the Super Bowl. It just means they have the toughest schedule in the league by far, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know who's doing the numbers. So show me anyone who's got a tougher schedule than this. The quarterbacks they're playing, they're going to lose games, but that's okay. They're going to get in the playoffs. I want them to get as high a seed as possible. But look at the NFC. Who's winning 12 games in the NFC? The Rams, maybe. They got a tough schedule too. The Packers, no, I don't see it.
Packers are dropping off.
Yeah.
The 49ers have one of the best rosters in the league, but because of what they're doing at quarterback, I'm not buying it.
I'm not either. Trey Lance ain't winning 12 games this year. No way.
New Orleans is always going to be dangerous for me. They're always going to be dangerous.
They're not winning 12 games.
They're probably not winning 12 games.
No.
Minnesota always has the talent, but Kirk Cousins can't win big games.
They're not winning 12 games. They're not.
Man, I'm not. I think we're a little lower on the Kyler Murray-led Cardinals at the moment.
That's going to end in a disaster.
Dallas, they lost a lot of guys. Nobody else there in the NFC East scares me.
I don't see Dallas winning 12 games. No. The Commodes aren't doing it.
The Eagles? I mean, they're probably going to take a step forward.
I saw our boy, Sal Palantonio, who we'll have on probably next week. He was doing a hit for Sports Center, and he always brings the props. I love it. They actually still print a daily paper in Philadelphia, the Inquirer. And the headline was to the effect that birds have legit chance to win it all. All right.
I won't go that far, but I think they can make an argument.
I mean, look, the Bengals made it to the Super Bowl. They almost won the Super Bowl. So anything can happen in this league. But that seems a little far-fetched for me.
I think the NFC across the board has gotten much weaker.
Yes.
It really has.
Yes. No question about it. That's why I'm not freaking out that the Bucs might win 10 or 11 games.
Yeah.
I think 11 is probably where they're going to be at. That's going to win them the NFC South, and it probably is going to get them at least a 1 or 2 seed in the playoffs.
Yeah. Real quick, we do have some breaking news here, and this is from Scott Smith, the Buccaneers writer for Buccaneers.com.
Yes.
Ryan Jensen taken off the field on a cart after an apparent injury.
Oh, shiz.
I saw somebody, I think Scott for a Pewter Report, had put out there like that Ryan went down after a collision with a teammate, and this was the follow-up from Scott Smith that he got taken off on a cart. So,
you know what was interesting yesterday? I was watching Ryan, and I was watching the offensive line go through, basically just the most basic drills where they're working on bouncing up to the linebacker and whatnot. Oof. And so Jensen came off and was kind of working on his own with a trainer on like taking a step to the left, like taking a step. Then he was kind of grabbing his midsection a little bit. So it looked like something was kind of tweaked in there.
Well, this is from Jenna Lane now, says that it was his left leg. that he was grabbing. And she's like, obviously the whole mood of practice has changed. And she made a good point here. Ryan Jensen's one of the toughest SOBs in this game.
Yeah.
If that guy can walk, he's walking.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's taken off a cart in front of everybody.
There we go.
That's, we're day 2 of training camp, and here we go.
Hey, this happens to every team in the league. It happens to every team in the league. This is why depth is so important. And few teams have depth on the offensive line, but the Bucs do. They do. And especially, they've been working Hainsey at center. Aaron Stinney can play center. I think the guy
Hainsey's back.
I think Hideki, who they drafted, has played some center, if I'm not mistaken, or certainly could. So, they got a little bit of depth there, but you do not want to lose Ryan Jensen.
But
yeah.
absolutely.
We
didn't see Ryan Hainsey really at all last year.
No. But Hainsey, he's a big kid. Where's number 70?
Yeah.
He stands out. He's a big kid, and they talked very highly of him last year. He's a 3rd round pick last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell you what, though, we'll see. Todd Bowles is going to speak after practice, so maybe we'll get a preliminary update on Ryan Jensen. But yeah, not the most ideal thing you want to see on day 2.
Look, it's going to happen, and if it's going to happen, it's weird. So I wonder if he was nursing a little bit of injury, but they say left leg. Let's hope it's not knee.
He had a collision with a teammate. At least that's what Scott had tweeted out.
Well, that if that's a bone bruise on the knee, then let's hope that's what it is. Let's hope that's what it is.
Yeah, so we'll be monitoring that throughout our show here today.
All right, we'll take our first break here and come back on the other side and talk some Rays baseball. Big win last night, but not without controversy again. The conspiracy theory that the Rays are actually trying to lose games is starting to gain a lot of traction. So why not? We'll talk about it next. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing? Constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem.
encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road. Hey, are you looking for a nice collector's Rolex watch? A lot of guys collecting those Rolex watches. A lot of you big ballers out there who listen to the show. I see you. I see you, big money. It's a big deal now, collecting the Rolexes. People looking for things that hold their value, that aren't cash. Smart stuff. And they've got a great selection. And if you don't see it over there, talk to Julie, talk to Steve, talk to their staff. They'll find it for you. They obviously are in touch with tons of suppliers and collectors, so it's something that they definitely will do for you. Also, if you've got any old jewelry, gold, diamonds, whatever it is, bring it in. They will give you a top price for it. You can buy something new and shiny there and get a great deal. If you keep the money in-house, or they'll give you the cash to walk away. Either way, it works for you. They've also got, obviously, engagement rings is what they do best. And we don't talk about this enough, because you got to be able to trust your jeweler, right? You got to be able to trust what you're getting, the cut, the clarity, the color, all that stuff is right, and that what they're telling you is right. You go to some of these other places, you don't know. They're in and out, they're national. You just don't know. So go to the local company that's been here for decades, and people come back and back and back. That's why their business is so good. Once you buy something there, you're going to be part of the family, and it's a family-run business, a local business that supports all the great charities here. So do the same, and you can go to the Gold and get that done. Golden Diamond Source, 1300 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. So imagine my and yours chagrin as the Rays are holding on to a 4-3 lead. Courtesy of Rasmussen, who I thought was really good last night. The Orioles are a good baseball team, and they are a scrappy baseball team, and they just don't quit. But the Rays take an early lead on a G-Man Choi 2-run homer. How about that? It's opposite way. Got to be in the lineup every freaking day. I don't care if it's righty or lefty. Get him in there. And they tack on, and then with Fairbanks warming up in the bullpen, right? They bring in Colin Poche for a second consecutive night after grotesquely blowing the lead the night before and taking out Shane McClanahan. You come back with Poche.
And did you notice who he came up to face, first batter of the inning?
No.
Ramon Urias.
Oh, the
same guy who took him deep.
Yeah.
The night before. It's like Kevin Cash was like, "Oh, I guess I just have to go back to this now."
Yeah, this whole idea of, you got to get him back. He fell off the horse, got to get him back on right away.
Yeah.
I get that, but come on. I mean, you've lost 4 in a row. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of the situation. You're losing ground here. And like the whole McClanahan decision, well, we got to look at his total workload. No, you want to take an inning off next time he pitches, do that. But not in this situation where you need a win.
Yeah.
And he's breezing through.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at, 6 months down the line when you're in a tight pennant race, and then you go back to the guy the next night. What the hell are we doing here?
And I look at it from a lot of angles. There's important things here to understand. The Rays, we already know it. And Matt Wisler went down the IL as well yesterday, so that number's back up to 17. It's another quality bullpen arm that's down.
And you hear why?
Why?
Had a bad pillow at the hotel. Got a stiff neck.
Is Matt Whistler disguising himself as Kiermaier? Is there like a zipper behind there that I could pull off? I don't know.
I mean, it happens. It's just that's not the way you want to go on the injured list.
That's the MO for the Rays this year. Just wacky injuries, and there you go. But my point with that is
that's the whole thing about this whole philosophy is they adhere to this philosophy like it's working. It's not working. You got your entire pitching staff is on the DL.
And this is every year, by the way. This was last year too.
I mean, remember when we talked to Smoltz about that? And his feeling is the Rays and many teams, they baby their pitchers. They baby them instead of building up their arm strength, especially through the minor leagues. They baby them. And it's just, if you can't pitch more than 81 pitches when you've pitched 23 pitches in 13 days, you're never going to build up the arm strength.
I guess my point with Colin Poche, though, is given what's in that bullpen right now, the three guys who had been the most reliable are Jason Adam, Brooks Raley, and Colin Poche. I mean, up until the last two outings, Colin Poche had really been, kind of awesome for them this year. So I understand that Cash has a lot of confidence in him. It's just in this scenario, given what happened the night before, and again, everybody cares so much about matchups, right? Colin Poche is a lefty. That lineup that he was going to face there, he faced 6 batters, and 5 of them are righties. I don't get it. And the reason why I don't understand it is because Pete Fairbanks, who I think has pitched maybe twice since coming off the IL, since the All-Star break began. And I get it. He hasn't really been great in those outings, but he's a guy that you've been able to trust on the past few years. He's a power right-handed arm, and you have all these righties coming up. And what was boggling to the mind is he was having so much trouble getting out of the inning, and then Peter Fairbanks is warming up when Poche has already faced 5 batters. And then eventually he comes in and shuts it down in the next inning. But the fact that Colin Poche was allowed to go back out there and to face all these righties, again, it's another one that I don't have an explanation for. It just feels like he really just wanted to get him back out there to kind of wipe that stain away. And going up against the same batter as last night, maybe he's gonna get this, he's gonna rectify it. Well, he didn't, because the next guy goes yard, and here it is, the sound, and maybe Jorge Mateo is the guy who hit it out, and maybe we'll act like he's, a big guy as well from this announce crew.
Mateo socks one right center field deep. Phillips away, back. It is gone. Absolutely crazy. They've done it again.
They have.
The batting helmet is gone. Tampa Bay's lead is gone. This game is alive. The Orioles, once again, back from the dead.
They've had a lot of comeback wins.
Yes, they have.
They really have. So you got to hand it to them. But alas, it was not a comeback win, thanks to the bat of Randy Arozarena in the 10th inning. Of course, we start with the runner on second, so we get some action going. Get this game over with. Here we go. And that's exactly what happened.
You and your gimmicks.
2-1, a fly ball back into right field. Santander's going to go back. It's going to be over his head. He'll play the carom. Walls has scored. They're going to send Quinn. He is safe. The Rays get 2 runs out of that. Over to third base goes Loud. Arozarena will get a double out of that, and the Rays will get a 2-run lead. It's 6-4.
There you go, baby. So they get the extra run in, and Fairbanks comes in and shuts it down, and they get a much-needed 6-4 win, despite trying to do everything they can to blow another lead.
Yeah, why they got to do that? How many games this year has it just gotten so late, and I just have lost faith? Like the Rays, I think, still lead the league in blown saves. And I think, that's another one last night for Colin Poche.
Yep.
The bullpen was such a strength early in the season, but again, when you have so many guys who they just aren't major league arms, really. Right. Or they're not consistent major league arms. I'm not saying Poche's not, because he's been really good. But, Ryan Thompson's a guy who seems like he's figured it out. I think he's gone like 11 or 12 outings without giving up a run.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen him in that spot, especially against all those righties.
But he came earlier in the game, and, that's what the Rays do more than any other team. The high leverage guy, more often than not, it doesn't matter what inning it is, he's coming in. And that's why.
But how many batters did he face?
Ryan Thompson?
Yeah.
Not many, if I recall.
Yeah. I would have.
He went 1 1/3, so he did pitch a little bit more than he probably would be used to. Brooks Raley only faced 2 batters, and then Jason Adam did 1 1/3. So,
and he did his thing as he
did
always
his thing, which I would have liked to have seen him the night before.
Yes,
as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, they needed to stop that skid, and because like we've been mentioning, it's getting tight there, and that AL East race, and the Yankees have already started. I love how, the difference is the Yankees go through one bad stretch, by the way. I think they're on like a 5-10 or a 5-11 skid.
Yeah.
And then last night they immediately were like, okay, we've acquired Andrew Benintendi.
Yeah. Yeah.
They go get an all-star right away. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
That's just what they do. And, we're talking a lot about if the Rays should go for it. Should they not go for it?
Well, this is from our man, Lonnie Wilkins. He says, gentlemen, it feels like the Rays have been in a World Series window beginning in 2019 and that they've made some moves to stay good, but not great. When do they cash in on the big move ever? Well, and I've been talking about this for years, as Stu used to say, his goal was always to play meaningful games in September, which I thought was the stupidest thing. And just, I guess, that just means you stay in the hunt and sell tickets as cheaply as you can stay competitive. That's the other part he didn't say. So when have they ever added big salary? Now I know last year at the deadline, they went out and got Nelly Cruz, who actually didn't turn out to be the big bat that we needed at the particular time. So you might say, well, that's why they don't do it very often, but he wasn't the number one. We always get like the C-level guy. We never get the A level. We never go out and get the A level or the B level guy. It's usually the C level guy, and pay big money for him. I mean, Nelly Cruz. I mean, what do we end up paying him? Like $4 or $5 million? That's not big money.
Yeah.
What's Benintendi making? I don't know what he was making with the Royals.
Let me double check that here.
No, and it's that's why people talk about Juan Soto, and I said no, they're never going to do it because they have to pay him probably another $8 million this year.
Benintendi's only $8.5 million.
That's to the Rays, that's a lot.
The Rays, it's significant. For the Yankees,
it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. That's one night's gate for them, at Yankee Stadium. So, look, the Rays have never made that big, huge move like Juan Soto. That would be a big, huge move. And the fact is they're going to have to commit a lot of prospects to that deal. And if they're going to get the best out of it, they got to keep him for 2.5 years, which is going to cost them upwards of $50 million. It's not what the Rays do. And it's one of the reasons I think they haven't won the World Series, letting Charlie Morton go for $15 million. That's an economic decision that they made that bit him in the ass. And it was one of the worst ones they've ever made, quite frankly, because he goes on and wins a World Series and was key for doing that with the Braves.
I know we're like we're in Rays gear, but I just want to get this in because we've been talking about it because Todd Bowles is speaking right now. He says it's a knee injury for Ryan Jensen, which that's always that's the one you don't want to hear about is the knee.
Well, I'll say this, and I didn't see the collision.
Todd Bowles says he doesn't even know how it happened. Yeah, but it's definitely a knee injury. Ryan Jensen threw his helmet in disgust down on the ground, and he's getting tested right now. So
that's not good. That's not good.
No.
The only thing I can say about that is, when you bang into a guy, that could be more of a bruised knee, which will heal in a month or so. Or normally when you tear an ACL, you're getting bent backwards for an offensive lineman. You get caught and you get bent backwards or bent sideways with somebody underneath you. Mm-hmm. That didn't happen. So, and those bone bruises can feel really, really bad when you smash knees, and you could think you're seriously hurt, but that stuff goes away. It's the ligaments and the tendons that you worry about long-term, but it could also be, if you're colliding with someone, you're not expecting to collide with them because they're not really doing contact right now, put you in an awkward position, could be a tear, this is all speculation, but if he'd have been like non-contact injury and he just went down, I'd be going ACL done. Yep. So, we'll see. We're just reading the tea leaves here. Hopefully, it's not the ACL. I know Lottie continues. I know it goes against the foundation that the Rays way, but last year when they needed a big arm going into postseason and they got Cruz, we got embarrassed after 100 wins. Absolutely, absolutely.
Join the club of people who called that one out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right when the trade deadline went down and they didn't acquire a starting pitcher.
It just feels like the guy taking too long to ask for a date to the dance, and eventually the good ones are gone, and now they're just meh. Well, that's always the way we do it, and we don't win bidding wars for big time catchers like we need to right now.
Yeah, the Andrew Benintendi thing. The Rays, I don't think we're ever really in on him. I don't think he's. Guy has 3 home runs this year. He's not a bopper. I think the Rays need a bopper in their lineup. I know he's a good contact guy. Matt Germain, he's always on top of this stuff. He put his stats out there for the Trop, and it's over a sample size of like 130 at bats. He's terrible at the trop, and that's a real thing for players.
Absolutely.
It's a real thing for players.
Because the lighting in there is different. And some guys just can't, like Willie Adames. Some guys, their eyes just don't adjust to it. Everybody has different eyes.
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying the Rays had those numbers in front of them. They probably did.
That's a big deal.
But I mean, if the Yankees want somebody, they're going to go get them. That's just the reality of it. But there's still a lot of guys out there. There hasn't been that much movement going on. It always happens here as we get, in the days before the deadline or on the day of the deadline. We know 2 guys for the Cubs are available, 2 All-Stars.
Yep.
Wilson Contreras, who's going to get him and who's going to get Ian Happ. We know they're both going.
Yeah.
The Rays love to discuss trades with the Cubs. They don't ever make one.
Right.
But they love to discuss trades with the Cubs. They did it over last deadline when we were talking Glasnow and Kimbrel and all that.
Yeah.
To me, the Rays, and they need a catcher. You think the Rays are rolling with Betancourt and Pinto? No.
They're rolling nowhere with those 2 guys.
No.
If that's who they're going with?
No.
If
the Rays
to me, the injury to Zunino and now Mejia, this has made a catcher the number 1 priority. Because you wanted to add a bat, and
have you noticed too? Betancourt has had a lot of trouble just catching the ball and keeping it in front of him. Another one yesterday, he allowed a run to come home on a pass ball.
Yeah,
that's happened a few times already with Betancourt as well.
Yeah, so you can't go forward with these guys. You cannot. But I heard Topkin say this yesterday. The Rays don't win bidding wars. And they don't like getting in them because in a bidding war, what are you going to do? You're going to overpay. You're going to overpay every single time. And overpaying means not only overpaying the player, but in prospects, which of course keep your team cheap to run and keep it competitive. And that's the number 1 thing that Stu's always looking for. The young players, good young players are like gold to him because it keeps them competitive on the cheap.
I will say this about the Benintendi trade for the Yankees. You know who they gave up? Number 19 prospect. Number 21, and like some guy that wasn't even in their top 30. So I'm like sitting here like thinking,
that's not much.
They were able to just avoid giving up really any capital for Andrew Benintendi for the rental. The Rays had to give up Joe Ryan, a top 5 prospect, to get Nelly Cruz. And I think Nelson Cruz and Benintendi are pretty comparable at this point. I'm kind of like, that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
How the Yankees were able to pull that off. So if you were getting a bidding war there, the Rays could have stepped up on that one. I'll say again, I don't think Benintendi is their type of player, but I don't know.
I'm looking at Wilson Contreras here. I mean,
he's one of the best catchers in baseball
defensively.
He's a hitter too.
I mean, he's hitting. Where are the numbers for this year? It's hitting 20 doubles, 14 home runs, 37 RBI, 77 strikeouts, and 302 at bats. Not too shabby.
Yeah, he's one of the best. He's one of the best catchers in baseball.
Yeah,
all around.
Yeah, and I would. I mean, what's he making too? That's obviously also a big part of this. And you're going to have to give up a ton to get him. That's the guy you need. You solve two problems there. You get a big right-handed bat, and you get a great catcher.
Yeah, and here, I mean, the Rays, I think, would love to, an ideal world, to have somebody they can have control for, but he is on a 1-year deal, so you get him, you lose him at the end of the year. He's making $9.625 million.
So yeah, he's 30 years old, so he's going to go into free agency, and I'm not going to say he's going to break the bank, but he'll probably be the best free agent catcher available.
Ian Happ, the other one that I had mentioned, who's an outfielder, he's on a 1-year deal as well. He's cheaper, $6.85 million, and he was also an all-star this year.
But you got to get you're going to pay a little bit more to get the catch. If you're going to get 2 birds with 1 stone, I mean, but it's a rental. It's a rental. You're not going to pay him after this year, or are you? I mean, Wilson Contreras, what's he going to get on the free agent market?
Hitting the free agent market at 30 years old, 31 years old. So that's kind of the prime year for a free agent, and being a catcher. And there's not a lot of great catching talent in Major League Baseball right now. Yeah, he would get paid.
Yeah,
he would get paid, and I doubt it would be the Rays paying him.
So again, that's not something that is in the Rays' MO whatsoever. So you could probably kiss that goodbye as well. But listen, the Rays are in the hunt. I would like to see them make a big move. I just don't think they are. I don't think they are. But the catching situation is really a problem right now. They've got to go out. They're going to eventually have to go out and get somebody. So why not get this guy? I mean, you guys want to talk about, finally paying somebody, being able to pay a catcher who's good defensively, could be a power right-handed bat. You're solving probably 3 issues with your team right there. You need a power right-handed bat. You need a big bopper. I know that's kind of the same thing, but you also need a catcher that can work with this pitching staff and be a good defensive catcher. And, obviously,
defense,
yeah, I mean, that's always a huge part.
Without Zunino back there, it's been pretty obvious that we've dropped so much there defensively at catcher. Because Mike Zunino, I mean, you think about it, he's got to be one of the longest tenured catchers the Rays have ever had. They've always had a revolving door there.
Yeah.
And he made it 4 years. And it's like whatever you got from him at hitting was just extra. He was there to be a really good defensive guy.
And they're probably, this thoracic thing that he's out with is not a career ender.
No,
he'll be back next year. They might be just thinking, they can bring him back because he wants to be here. He likes playing here. And he's a good player. Obviously, 33 bombs last year. We weren't expecting that this year, but we'd have liked the guy, into the 20s. He hadn't played hardly at all this year.
No, when he was there, he just never really got going.
Yeah. So, that they may be looking at him as their future, but if you're going to spend $20 million on a guy and lock him up for a long term, why not this guy?
I would push back on that. Wilson Contreras is not the guy I'm spending $20 million on because he's a nice. Look, don't get me wrong, catching is very important, and he could do it all. But I'm not paying any catcher $20 million.
Yeah,
I'm
the
not.
Rays. Here's the thing. The Rays are,
and he's not getting $20 million regardless.
Okay, so what are we talking about? 15?
I would say he's probably in that 14 to 18 range.
Okay, even better. Who are you paying next year? You got nobody on the books that you're paying. Kiermaier's gone.
Yeah.
Your committed payroll next year is $23 million. Well, who the hell are you paying? Your payroll should be up around 110 at least. At league average is 160.
Well, ain't going there.
But you're committed to $23 million next year. Well, you got to pay somebody. Why not pay a veteran catcher who can come in here and lead your team and hit? I mean, that's the guy you need. That's the guy you need to sink money into. That's the person. You're solving a lot of issues with that. So, yeah, you got to pay somebody.
Yeah. I mean, I'll point it out there. I know you think the Juan Soto thing's a pipe dream, and in some respects, I will too. But the Yankees.
He's an outfielder. We don't have a catcher. We don't have a catcher.
Don't need outfielders?
We do, but they're easier to get. They're easier to find.
You want to see Roman Quinn every single night?
No.
You want to see Brett Phillips every single night?
Hell no.
You want to see Josh Lowe every night?
No, but
you sound like World Series winning outfielders.
But you're going to have to pay. You're going to pay Soto at least $20 million next year.
But who are you paying? You just asked me who you paying.
If I have to make a choice, Contreras.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, why?
You are out of your mind.
Why?
Juan Soto is a top 5 player in baseball.
Well, you just told me that Wilson Contreras is a top 5 catcher in baseball.
Right.
Okay, but who's going to catch? Who's going to catch?
I'll figure it out. I'll figure
how's that working?
My catcher.
It's not a throwaway defensive position.
If you have a chance to get a top 5 player in baseball and you can get into it and you have the capital to do it, which you've told me you do, you need to put your neck out there and get into it. The Yankees just got Benintendi.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, you can afford them both. You should be able to afford them both.
Okay, well, that's not happening. So we shouldn't even discuss that.
Yeah, but if you got to pick one, you got to have a catcher. You got to have a catcher. Who are you going to put back there? Renee Pinto? Who you want to go with a Pinto or a Ferrari? What do you want? Come on.
Renee Pinto's catching strays right now.
Right.
No disrespect.
I mean, I'm sorry, but you got to figure out the catcher. But you can solidify the catching position with a guy who can bop from the right side.
Okay, but if I get Juan Soto, I'm guaranteed to get him until through 2024. I get Wilson Contreras. Am I guaranteed that I'm getting him more than 2 months?
I'm signing him to a long-term deal before I make the trade.
Does he want to sign here?
I don't. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. That's the other problem of playing.
There's a lot of factors.
There's a lot of There's a lot of issues playing in the trop, but I think you're dismissing the importance of having a great defensive catcher who can hit.
No, I understand it, and they're hard to find.
Yeah, they are.
I get it, but if you're asking me would I rather have him or Juan Soto, it's not even a question. It's not even a question.
Well, the one's cheaper than the other.
And you might have to say, okay, would I rather?
And you can keep Contreras you can probably sign him for 4 or 5 years.
And I guess the way to look at it too is, would you rather have Contreras and get to keep a lot of your top prospects, or would you have Juan Soto, no Contreras, and you lose all your top prospects?
Well, I don't think you have to give up your top prospects to get Contreras.
You're gonna have to give up at least one of them.
Look, if I can sign him for 4 to 5 years at $10 to $15 million, I'm doing that.
31-year-old catcher, 4 to 5 years. The way catchers are breaking down now, how much longer is he going to be behind the plate?
I'll give him 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. That's it. 3 if I can do
4
it.
max.
Yeah.
But does he want 4? They want to get long
nobody
term.
no position players want to come play here, so that's probably out of the question. But philosophically speaking, I think you're
I don't know. I think it's a valid question. If you're on Team JP, would you rather have Wilson Contreras over Juan Soto? Please let me know. Please let me know.
But again, the cost is not going to be as much for Contreras in prospects and money. So it's not an apples to apples, like which would you rather have? It's not an apples to apples. There's a lot more I think there's a lot more versatility in Contreras. And if Josh Lowe is who you think he's going to be,
he's showing signs, but
and Arozarena, I mean, you got some outfield talent that you can tap into. I mean, again, it's easier to find replacement home runs and RBIs in the outfield than it is at catcher.
And Margot, we did get a positive update on Manuel Margot. I think mid-August he might be coming back. If everything goes well there.
That's a big deal.
That's a really big deal. Some news finally.
And you've got him signed.
Yeah. Here's a comment that you probably would like if you want to make your way over to the stream here.
Yes.
You might like this comment by Mario Christian here. I'll let you read it, though.
Let me get to it right here. Let's pop it up. Stu is acting like Uncle Scrooge, that one.
Yeah.
He always acts like Uncle Scrooge. That's who he is, for God's sakes. He's not acting. He is.
Yeah.
That's him.
Joe F says Soto all day, nice and short and sweet, because that's what the answer is.
Well, again, it's not apples to apples. I mean, you're building a team here, not one position. And to me, the better team fit is Contreras. But again, we're not getting either one of them, so it's probably a waste of breath. You have to give up 4 to 6 players to get either of those guys.
You're not giving 4. You're not giving that many players to get Contreras, I don't think.
Nah, not on a rental. And again, unless you can sign them to a long-term deal, I wouldn't do it.
I mean, the Rays gave up 2 players for a rental and Nelson Cruz.
Yeah.
They're not giving up 4 or 6 for more rentals.
Yeah. Drury with the Reds would be nice, or Brian, or who's that?
Brian Reynolds.
Brian Reynolds with the Pirates. Yeah.
I told you, Brandon Drury to me just seems like a Ray. He just comes off as a Ray to me. So that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Brian Reynolds might have a higher price. But again, the Rays have fleeced the Pirates in the past.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe you want to go back down
to that
one.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there's no way you're giving up 4 to 6 players to get Contreras for 2 months.
No,
that would be so. They wouldn't do that. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get a little bit into the Ryan Jensen injury. I believe Jason Light is talking as well, so we'll get you the latest from Bucs camp when we come back. Stay with us. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucs, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. They are a different type of primary care. They do everything personalized. They're going to look at exactly how you metabolize certain drugs, how you metabolize certain food, what you're allergic to, what you're not allergic to, and draw up a specific plan just for you. And by the way, if you've had a COVID diagnosis, if you've tested positive and your doctors are telling you there's nothing you can really take, they're absolutely 100% wrong. There's plenty of stuff that you can do. There are great treatments out there, and Chris Lugo has been treating COVID patients with great success. So if you get a diagnosis or know somebody who does, tell them BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Look them up, contact them, make an appointment. If you're looking for new primary care as well, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. They are different. They'll spend time with you and make sure that you get a personalized plan for your health. It will optimize your health and your immune system as well, which is very important. Once again, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo, give him a call, make an appointment, tell him JP sent you. All right, any updates on Ryan Jensen's situation? No.
Not a clear update, but we do have the Todd Bowles did provide the updates, which we passed along to you, but we do have the audio now if you wanted to maybe catch up on some of that here.
Let's do it.
Also, we'll have Jason Licht here in a little bit as well, but here was Todd Bowles today at the podium.
You can't be happy with these developments.
Coach, what happened there at the end of practice with Ryan?
What happened with
Ryan?
Ryan?
All I know is he went down right now with the knee. We'll see when we go inside going forward and go from there.
Coach, first impressions of Julio Jones and how much work he was putting out there?
Well, he can still run. You know, he's a big target and he's still quick. His first day was pretty good. It's just a matter of getting him caught up on the scheme.
It's not happy.
What stood out the most to you today in day 2 of training camp?
It was better execution, obviously. We're settling into a groove where it's a grind out period and everybody understood what they have to do. We just have to understand how to pads. We got to take care of each other.
With Tristan Wirfs coming back from his injury, how much better does your offensive line function, with him out there?
Oh, he's a heck of a player. Anytime you get a good player back, and he's a great player right now for us, and we got continuity, that's always good. You got to protect your quarterback with bookend tackles first.
That was a lot of Julio out there. Just want to say how important it is to throw him right out there, get as much on-field practice. Yeah.
Well, I think it's important for him to get reps. He's got to get the scheme down. So we threw him in there with everybody else and took a look at him. He ran some things. Some things, obviously, we had to keep him out of. But we're pleased with where he's at right now. We just got to continue to get the mental part of it down.
How's Mike Edwards responding to a very competitive situation?
Mike's been great. He came in camp, looks good. He's moving around. He's a lot more vocal than he has been. Anytime you're in the scheme a while, you should be. Right now, he's having an excellent camp for 2 days. As much as you can say, he's been great.
Coach, what are your thoughts on the new Guardian helmets? Do you think it's a good idea for extra safety?
It's a good idea. They're moving in the right direction. I don't know if you're out of pads and you're in helmets and we're trying to limit and make the game safer. So I understand from that standpoint, anybody can get those as far as DBs and linebackers. So you try to take care of each other mentally. And the Guardian things are something that we try to make the game safer in the first couple of weeks. So that's fine with me.
Coach, after watching the film of yesterday, which of the rookies would you say had a good first day?
don't think any of them had a good first day. They didn't have a bad one. You know, just it's assignment, T-shirt and shorts football still for us. It's more about the mental part of their game, the physical part, and the athletic part to come in once we put the pads on. The evaluation process right now is mentally, fundamentally. Once we get in pads, it'll be more physically and how they play the game as a whole.
Have you decided yet when the pads will come on, Coach?
Oh, it's decided for us. You know, we got to have 4 days out of pads, and then they'll come on after that. So, you know, it's a league-wide rule. There's nothing you can do about that.
That's Monday, by the way.
Coaching up his other wide receivers, how important is it at this point in his recovery to just have his voice out there?
I think it's good for the guys to see him out there. I think it's good for his psyche, you know, going out there, understanding that he could be out there when he gets healthy. So it helps to coach him up, and it gives the guys a lot of boost when he's out there.
No, you're not in pads. It's limited contact. You get a lineman rolled up. Is that just unfortunate, or guys have to watch as much and taking care of each other?
Well, we always have to watch taking care of each other, but we got to play football too. It's unfortunate right now because there was nothing fancy going on in there. We got to look at the tape and see what happened, but it didn't look like anything. So as far as how it happened, I don't know. We got to take a look at the tape and hope for the best.
Yeah, you could tell by the way that press conference started. He definitely leading on that there's some concern there. And of course there is anytime knees are involved. A big guy like that. And the sign that he didn't get up and actually walk on his own, to me, is what worries me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I just saw some of the pictures of him being down and him yelling and screaming. It's, yeah, as you mentioned, one of the toughest guys around. But this is, you know, this is football. This is what happens, and you got to be able to bounce back. But, you know, you look at it last year. We talked about this earlier in the week. The Ravens were, you know, one of the favorites going in last year.
Yeah.
And they were just decimated with injuries. It's when you get hit that hard, there's even if you got Tom Brady or MVP and Lamar Jackson, it just doesn't matter. You can't recover. And that's the other thing against this schedule. You're not going to survive unless you have most of your players. So we did this as an exercise earlier in the week, you know, how does this season go really bad for the Buccaneers? Well, it's all about health. It's all about health. I mean, they're loaded. You can just, you know, if you're Jason Light, you do as much as you possibly can with the roster. I can't imagine them doing anything more than they've done, with the exception of maybe having Gronk here. So, I mean, you do the best you can, and you go out there and you practice, and you got to get ready, and it's a physical game, and they're not even in pads, and something like this happens. So it is what it is. And, you know, the Bucs are going to have to do what they can.
I feel very confident in saying, though, that if this is a long-term injury, J.C. Tretter will be in the building at some point next week.
Yeah.
I'm very confident in that because as I've been saying, if something goes wrong, Jason Licht is quick on his feet to make something happen.
And the other part of that is you're going just like with Julio Jones. I mean, JC's probably waiting for that offer to come when somebody goes down. And why would you not jump on the opportunity to play with Tom Brady?
And he's not a guy that's washed either, by the way.
Yeah.
I think Pro Football Focus, which I rely on them a lot for like line play, things that you can't really see with the naked eye. He was one of the higher ranked centers in the league last year, which he's been for a majority of his career. So he can still play, 31 years old, at the same age as Ryan Jensen.
Yeah.
So, and you could probably, at this point, you're getting everybody for cheap. You got to see how the Bucs can make it work. But of course, if anybody's making it work, it's going to be them. But of course, we have to see what the injury is. But I'm just telling you, there's no way the Bucs are going to a season with Ryan Hainsey as a starting center, and then behind that having even further unknowns.
Yeah.
There's no way they're doing that. I can't see it.
Well, I mean, at some point, younger players do have to step up. But if you can step up, and you can get J.C. Trotter instead of,
not on this team and not at that position.
I mean, Robert Hainsey, they like him. He's a third round pick, right? I'm pretty sure, from Notre Dame.
Yes.
Played tackle, has played guard and center, played it all. They wanted to work him at guard and center, and I think he got a lot of reps last year at center in practice. So I think they feel like he's the heir apparent. Or if they didn't re-sign Jensen, I think they were probably going to try to make it work with him. But again, if you can get a veteran who wants to come here and win a ring with Tom Brady, why wouldn't you do that? Absolutely.
Yeah, because then if you're having to say a situation where you have Robert Hainsey at center and then at right guard or left guard, whatever ends up being, having to go with Stinney or Gadecki, and you have those two guys next to each other, and then what you're going to do is, if it's on the left side, you're putting even more on Donovan Smith's plate, who just had his career year, and I'm curious to see if he's going to be at that same level because he really has never been until last year.
Right.
I don't really want to put more on his plate by having, essentially 2 rookies next to him.
Yeah.
So when everybody talks about this offensive line being in flux for the Bucs, and we've been saying, no, it's not. It's one of the best in the league. This changes things.
Oh, it changes it dramatically. I mean, look, you're talking about 5 guys here. Okay. When you got 3 out of the 5, and 2 of them have already, I think Jensen went to the Pro Bowl, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 of them have gone to the Pro Bowl, and Wirfs is an all-pro, maybe the best right tackle in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And Donovan Smith's knocking on the Pro Bowl door, had his best season, has gotten better every year. I mean, that's a solid offensive line right there, 3 of the 5. You go down to 2 of the 5, and one of them, you lose the center, the guy in the middle, the one that makes a lot of those calls. And also, don't forget, Brady's weakness is not being able to step up in the pocket and throw. And that's why those interior guys are so important to him. And when he gets pressure up in his face is when he is at his worst. Everybody knows that's the way to beat Brady. And Jensen's a big part of holding the line up there and getting and allowing him to step up in the pocket and throw.
And snapping, communication up front.
All that.
Those are little
Huge.
things that can make things go south real quickly. And I don't know how often has Tom Brady really been under center of Robert Ainsley.
Yeah, not often.
Probably not often.
No.
That's the thing. It's like now you're having to speed that process up because game day is September 11th. That's just a little over a month away, and you have to learn that whole thing. And that's an important thing in this game that I don't think a lot of people recognize. That's why Ryan Jensen, that's one of the most important positions on the field. And if this is a long-term injury, that's a killer already.
Yeah, and you're paying him a lot of money.
A lot of money.
So
there's no LTIR in football.
No,
the first thing I said, I'm like, do we have an LTIR?
Nope.
No.
So we'll see what happens with this, and if they have to make a corresponding move, that's good that there's some guys out there, some veteran guys out there, and I think that's where they'll want to go with veteran guys, not with Hainsey may be good at one point, but in this last year, Tom Brady, no, you're going to go with the veteran. You got to go get a veteran, no question about it.
We can't go live to Jason Licht here if you want to.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
He started speaking right now.
Bucs GM Jason Licht.
And our receivers we talked, Todd and I talked, Mike, talked Russell, talked Chris. Everybody was very excited about having Julio just because of the reputation that he has of being a great player, but also being a great teammate and coach on the field. Don't want to use all those cliches, but that's what he is. And we had a lot of injuries last year, like you said, going down the stretch that really hurt us. And we wanted to try to avoid that situation this year if we could.
Jason, we see Bruce out there. He's front and center watching things. What would you say his role is? Consultant, sounding board, extra set of eyes, all of the above?
All of the above. All of the above. It's great to have him. He and I obviously have a great relationship. I lean on him for a lot of things. We'll continue to do that. I know Todd does as well, and all of our coaches. He's great to have around.
We asked Kyle, we asked for some words, what it was like. You come to practice one day, it's Julio Jones, one day it's somebody else. He said it was like a video game. You have to actually be in that video. Does it ever feel like that Tom Brady's the quarterback and I've got these guys I'm surrounding with?
I never really thought of it as a video game. I just think of it as having a lot of great players and trying to make a push this year to win another Super Bowl and doing whatever we can for that. And fortunately, we've been in a situation here the last couple of years where we can bring in a lot of players. Maybe they're on the downturn of their career, but they still have something left. Guys like Kyle, guys like Julio. Past couple of years, we've done the same thing. So I think these two in particular, Kyle and Julio, I think they're really going to help us.
And you think about that, what they got out of Sue was tremendous. JPP, tremendous. And Gronk and Brady haven't been bad either.
We'd like to get another guy here or
It would have to be a good fit, like he said. We're nonstop putting lists together, keeping tabs on players that are out there on the street, players that could potentially get released, traded. I mean, that's what my personnel department does, and they do a great job of it nonstop. So wouldn't say one thing in particular. Right now, we feel very good about most of our team and the depth that we have. But we always keep an eye on everything.
Jason, do you feel that with these last two additions, if Gronk were to call you, that you'd find room, or is it too full at this point?
Well, I don't want to deal with hypotheticals, but we all know Gronk is a hell of a player. It'd be hard to turn down.
Yeah, he wants to come back. He's back. He's welcome.
Before you brought Julio in,
Can you play center?
competition for the fifth and sixth, maybe even seventh spot. How do you see that developing next month?
You know, a few years ago, early in my tenure, I would have probably been thinking too much about that right now. But now that have a few years under your belt, you realize that it's way too early to start playing that game. A lot of things can happen between now and cut down day, injuries, things of that nature. So right now, we just want everybody to compete, and I think it's going to bring out the best of everybody.
Speaking of injuries, Brian Jensen went down today. Is there anything that you know or can add to that? And how have you seen Robert Hainsey's development here over the last year?
Yeah, right now we feel terrible for Jensen. Don't have any update on that. We won't for some time. We have tests. Some tests you have to wait a couple days before you can get them. You have to wait for swelling and things like that to go down. So I don't have any update on that other than that it was a knee injury, and we're hoping for the best, but we'll have updates on that later.
No good. I can't hear the question.
That's a popular theme here in the.
Well, that usually happens when you have a player like Ryan, who's such a obviously a very good player, but also just a great person and a leader, and his toughness, things like that about him that define him. When a player like that gets hurt, and he's played through several injuries in his career without missing any time, it usually it deflates everybody. So, but we'll wait to find out what it is, and like I said, we're hoping for the best.
That's right. Yeah. If you can comment on that.
Yeah, we took Robert in the third round for a reason, because we saw a lot of potential in him. We saw potential in him as a center first, potentially playing guard. He played right tackle at Notre Dame as well. We've liked everything, the progression of Robert since we drafted him, since he came into the offseason last year, and we have faith in him. We also have a lot of faith in Nick Leverett playing center as well. So those two will get in there, and they'll compete for the time being until we find out more about Jensen.
What's it like having the world's greatest recruiter, Jason, at your disposal, whether it's Gage, it's Rudolph, it's Jones? It's a big advantage. So that Brady factor, it's real, isn't it, Jason?
Oh, it's huge. I think any GM with a established veteran quarterback has an advantage, but when you have Tom Brady is the greatest, it's even more of an advantage. And I'm never going to apologize for using him to help me bring in players for this team.
Jason, can you talk about the Akeem Hicks signing as far as what you saw from him last year, how his season ended, and just his injuries and your confidence?
Yeah, he had some unfortunate injuries last year that ended his season early, but he's healthy now, and he has come in, and he's a big man. He's very athletic. He's very powerful. He's got very good quickness for his size, and he's been a great addition to that room. He's a veteran leader. He's a very mature guy, and everybody's been very high on him since he's been here. I think he's gonna have a hell of a year.
Talk about Tom being a master recruiter. He's also an ageless wonder and possibly a vampire. I've heard some speculation out there. Just as a general manager, when you can have a living, breathing example to show your players, like, this is, like, what you do what this guy does, like, you can be in this league for a long time. So what's it like to be able to have that? I mean, he turns 45 next week, and there are so few people in any professional sport that have been able to achieve that milestone.
Well, I think I think that has rubbed off on a lot of players, just the way he prepares, the things that he does to keep his body in the shape that it's in. I don't think I have to ever grab a player and point to Tom Brady. I think they see it firsthand pretty quickly when they come in here, and the entire locker room has the utmost respect for him.
Kind of piggybacking on the recruitment side, how often does Tom come to you and be like, hey, I talked to this guy, you want to give him a call, see if you guys want to, or is it just a joint effort where you're like, hey, we're looking at this guy, can you give him a call? How often does that go back and forth?
It goes, if I'm thinking about a player, if we are as a staff, I'll give him a call and see if he can help us out, and he's always willing to do it. So
players too, like say, hey, I talked to this guy.
We're usually on the same page with that. I mean, we didn't have to kick too many weeds to find out about Julio Jones. We've known about him for a while. And Kyle Rudolph was best tight end that was available. So, but we're usually on the same page. We have a lot of communication. So does Todd and Tom and myself, and we talk a lot about players.
Yeah, when you can shop at Neiman Marcus instead of Walmart like the Rays do, you know who the top targets are. You don't need Tom Brady pointing it out. But it is nice to have him as the closer.
That's what you built, you and Bruce and everybody. How does that sound to you when you hear that fact?
Asking about the culture of the Bucs now being Super Bowl
It's humbling.
favorites.
It's awesome. That's what we aspired, and that was our goal a long time ago. It's all about the culture, and when you add a player like Tom, that certainly helps, and it resonates throughout the whole building, and will, I think, continue to resonate for years to come. This is what it takes to win. So we have the best locker room that I've ever been around in my career.
No question.
In terms of the professional attitude and the maturity,
leadership,
and the goal-minded players of all being on the same page of what we're trying to achieve.
Here's the front office moves with obviously Jacqueline Davis getting a promotion. Spytech had a few interviews. How important it is to have that staff cohesiveness? And I'm sure you wish Spytech, would get a job eventually because he's great at what he does. But how important is to have him in that role and keep him on the team in front office?
It's I not just John, but I could name them all. We have a great group. I hope they all become GMs at some point. Somebody's got to be in the top spot, and there's different roles, but nobody really looks at it that way. They all have a job to do, and just like the players, we all have a goal in mind, and that's to win a Super Bowl. So I couldn't be more happy with the group that I have.
Coach Bowles said that he wanted to have more competition.
Competition in training camp, something we talked about a few days ago.
There's a lot of chatter,
That's
a
the
lot of
buzzword.
banter, and a lot of smack talking going on, and that's a good thing.
One more thing on Julio Jones. I know he's had an ankle for a long time. You guys are paying him pretty well, and I'm sure you did your diligence. Is there any limitations? Is he here, at depth? What about it for Julio?
No, we passed him on the physical. We feel good where he's at. He looked damn good today. We did our homework, and we from what we've seen so far, we're pleased with the signing. He can run, he can catch. He's a super competitive guy, so it's going to help us out.
He looks so good.
Sense that a lot of the guys you brought in, Gage, Rudolph, Jones, Neal, Hicks, veterans, but they don't have a ring. They don't have that ring. And is that any kind of factor in your mind? Like, hey, this is going to be a hungry player.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I think in all of those negotiations, one of the top priorities that they had on their list was going to a team that they had a good chance of getting the ring, and how they want to end their career, not necessarily end it this year, but have a chance before their career is over to win a Super Bowl.
So from your standpoint, it's a very attractive commodity, right?
Very attractive. I'm not saying that we're definitely going to win the Super Bowl. We've got a long road to go here, a short time to get there, but it's we just all feel we're all on the same page and we have a good chance.
Spring and a couple of days here, who's catching your eye from the guys you chose?
Right now they're all kind of catching our eye. I would say Rashard White has done a fantastic job. He's got a very mature approach. Reminds me of Godwin when he came in as a rookie, wanting to get all of his ducks in a row before training camp so he could just focus on football. Mm-hmm. Logan's done some great things for us. Luke is competing his butt off in there at guard. The tight ends both have shown a lot of good things in different areas. Cade catching the ball, his route running, his knowledge of the offense and blocking, and then just a tough blocker that can be used in various roles as a blocker, but he can also catch. So they're all right now. It's way too early, but they're all catching our eye one way or another.
What do you see of the returner competition? What's your perception on that?
That's going to be kind of ongoing right now. We think Darden has shown a lot of improvement from last year. We've got some young guys that are going to compete for that. We've got Gio, who's done a nice job for us in the past. So there's going to be a lot of work there to see what shakes out, who's going to be the best one for us.
Look at Tom, he's not going to play forever. There's a 40-day span where he called it quits and came back. Do you have to find out more about Kyle Trask this August, this preseason, to know if he's a viable option for 2023 if Tom decides not to return?
We definitely is one of our goals is to find out as much as we can about Kyle during the preseason.
Now, Tristan had said that it's
He looked good.
a video game, right? Like with all these players that you're bringing in. But what's it like for you as an dad? You come home and
Which also means evaluating regarding Gronk.
Well, with social media today, and they're not in school. So, I have an 8-year-old who finds out all of his information on TikTok and will, call me before it even gets out. So it seems like, no, it's a lot of fun to go home and talk about the things that we've done. But there's also, when I go home, I get humbled pretty quickly.
So. Your enthusiasm, though. That's great.
Yeah.
As far as Trask goes, is there be a attempt to get him to look at the ones and see how he performs? Because I know he's been getting a lot of reps with the threes and some
No.
twos, but
No one reps for Trask.
He's going to play a lot.
Which means that's a dumb question.
Thanks, guys.
He ain't getting any time with the ones. I'll be nice to you, whoever asked that question. No. He's not. What's interesting, it's so they're doing routes with the running backs today and tight ends and receivers, and they got the 4 quarterbacks rotating, right? And in one of the drills, they're snapped. 2 quarterbacks are going at a time, right? They're snapping it and they're going to the receivers. And it's funny how Brady does not throw to guys who aren't starters. Like, and everybody kind of knows the rotation. So Trask will be like, look and see who's come up in the line, and he'll know whether he needs to take that rep or not take that rep. You will not see Brady throwing to Devin Tompkins. You will not see Brady throwing to Sneak Vaughn. You won't see he's throwing to the starters. So if you need to know who's going to play, and it is really in their mind right now, just watch who Brady picks out. And Trask ain't getting no reps with the ones. That ain't freaking happening. I don't even think Blaine Gabbert's getting reps with the ones, but maybe a few more.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was asked the question, do you think he's a viable option for 2023? And even he didn't really.
He's going to get a lot of playing time.
He's going to get a lot of playing time. That's it. That's all you get out of that. But,
of course. That's the whole idea. We got to find out. But, you're not going to find out with him stealing reps with the ones. That's just not going to – I just don't see a whole lot of – just limited at best. You're not going to see him go out and start a preseason game with the ones. I don't see that happening. This is not about developing Kyle Trask. This is about Tom Brady. Everything they do this year is about Tom Brady. And that's why you can't, I understand other organizations, you've got to have an eye on the future. That's always smart to do. But if you're kind of quantifying the Bucs philosophy right now, it's 99% on this season, 1% on the future. That's it. And if you have Tom Brady in his last year, that's what you do.
And that's why when we were talking about the center position, at some point the young guys got to step up. I said, not on this team.
Not on this team. You're right.
It sounds so ass backwards, but not on this team. It's all about getting veterans in the building who have done it, can still do it, and you can milk the last of what you have in them. And the kind of the rookies are just kind of there to complement guys, really. To kind of learn from the veterans and be that next wave. This is not – if they have any rookies playing, unless they're literally like Tristan Wirfs types impacts, I really don't think they want him on the field right now.
Right. No, they don't. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So that's the big news, folks, today. And that's Ryan Jensen goes down with a knee injury. It looks bad. Carted off the field, yelling and screaming when he went down, colliding with a teammate. It doesn't look good. There's some options out there. JC's it's Tretter, right?
JC Tretter, yeah.
Jesse Tretter, one of the has been one of the best centers in this league. Most recently with Cleveland, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Alex Mack is retired, right?
I believe he retired.
Yeah.
He's a little older anyway.
Yeah. At one time, one of the best in the league. So, there's not a lot of guys that can do it at that level, but if he's out there, the Bucs are going to go get him. All right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I had an interesting conversation yesterday with a young player who was caught passes from Joe Burrow, Timmy McClain at USF, and Jerry Bohannon. And wait till I tell you what he said about incoming USF quarterback Jerry Bohannon. Very interesting. Stay with us.
The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing? Constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at palermopa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road. If you're looking for an engagement ring, that's a great place to go. 0% financing for up to 5 years. You can get a great big old ring for $30, $50, $60 a month. So you don't have to have that big package of money to go in there. So if you've been telling your girl, I don't want the money just now, well, you really don't have to have it all right now. You can finance it. So get your butt in there. Don't lose that girl. Go get the ring, and it's so low pressure. You're going to go into other places, and they're going to try to push you into spending probably a lot more money than you want. It's a family atmosphere there at the Gold and Diamond Source with Julie and Steve Weintraub. So head on in, make it easy on yourself, get the best ring for the money. It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, so a lot of practices in full swing for college football. USF is out there working already. and they're going to have a legit quarterback competition, or maybe not. Gary Bohannon, spelled with a G. So he's the cat that came in from Baylor and led them to a 9-2 when he got hurt. 9-2 included throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns against West Virginia. The coach, Dave Aranda, said, obviously we wouldn't have been where we were getting a win in who they beat, Oklahoma in the bowl game? I'm trying to remember.
Oklahoma
exactly.
State, right?
Yeah. They had a great year, and that was coming off a really bad year. So this kid is special. And I talked to a receiver who has caught passes from Joe Burrow, not in the game, but and also Timmy McClain and Jerry Bohannon. And he says Bohannon's arm is every bit as legitimate as Joe Burrow's, probably even throws a heavier, stronger ball than Joe, and is extremely accurate. And at 6'3", 220, 225, he kind of reminds me, from a build standpoint of Patrick Mahomes. And, obviously coming from the Big 12 as well. The kid has got a cannon and pretty much has been considered the number one guy since he got on campus. I don't know how much of a competition this is going to be. And I don't think that's bad for Timmy McClain, who played as a kind of got forced in there as a true freshman. Explosive kid, has huge upside. I hope he doesn't transfer because I think he could be the future at USF, and he could learn a lot from Bohannon. But this kid is the real deal. He is the real deal, and he can transform this team, especially with all the transfers that they brought in. This is going to be a tremendously different USF team this year. No, they're not. I'm not saying they're going to win the conference, but if they can win, I think their over-under on their wins this year is 4.5. I think they could easily get to 6, 7. I don't know about 8 wins, but I think this could be a transformative year for USF, and Bohannon is the real deal. I'm really looking forward to him playing.
Yeah, I think I said last week 7-5 at the moment is what I think USF is going to go because, Gary Bohannon, what was it, 9-2 last year as a starter for Baylor in the regular season, and they won the bowl game, I believe. You don't do that by accident in the Big 12 with the competition they were facing, and that's with a Baylor team that the year prior was like one of the worst Baylor teams in the history of that program. And Gary Bohannon, as the quarterback, turned that whole ship around, and how Baylor's in a great place, and now he comes to USF. And listen, Jeff Scott's got to win football games.
Yep.
He's got to win football games. I'm not saying he's got to win the conference or compete for that, but he's got to at least get to a bowl game here in year 3. And Timmy McClain, I double-checked it. Gary Bohannon actually has 2 more years of eligibility left. So I thought, we were talking in the break, I thought he only had 1. He actually has 2. So that is kind of, as I'm getting.
Tally's doing a business right here. Good girl.
Yeah. Distraction.
She's very excited when we're talking about USF.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Distraction anyway.
Your name's Tally, not Tampa. Don't ever forget that.
Yeah.
But we're Semi Bulls here. We support the Seminoles, and then right behind it, USF.
My UCF
jersey. I see that. Yeah.
I don't have any animosity towards the USF Bulls. I was born and raised in Tampa, Florida. I got some hidden love. But regardless, Timmy McClain, I'd hate to see him transfer because I think there's a lot of talent there. And given the lack of what he had to work with last year, I thought it was an excellent, true freshman season. And USF was so close. A few plays here and there from being a 6-win football team.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought they were much better than their record would indicate last year, but they, you got to get wins this year. I think Jeff has got to get at least to the 5-win mark. And I think they could do much better. If they can stay healthy, they've got a chance to really do something. Their schedule isn't super difficult. Their non-conference schedule is, do you have that handy? They got Florida, BYU, and Louisville, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That's a murderer's row right there. They go to Florida, I think, week 2.
Yeah, they got BYU. They start the season off with BYU at home.
Right. That's going to be a huge game.
And then they go to Howard. They have home at Howard, and then back-to-back on the road against Florida and Louisville.
Woo! Wow.
Not ideal there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the non-conference.
Boy, if they can, did they have a time yet on that BYU game?
4:00.
Ooh.
The Florida game might be a good one. If you're a USF fan, that seemed like a game maybe Florida fans will take. Is that Florida's home opener, actually? I'm not sure on that.
They're opening against Utah at home
Oh wow, that's another big game.
Yeah, huge.
Damn,
There's a
can't-
lot of good
I can't
games
wait.
early.
But that's a good game for USF fans, I think, to ride up there and experience that college atmosphere at Florida, because that's a 7:30 night game
Oh, beauty.
in the swamp. So
I'm going to that.
that seems like
I'm
I
going
mean
to
I
that
would
one.
want to go to that.
Yeah. I will be there for that one. Little tailgating,
Yeah.
little 7:30 game. Oh, yeah.
And they get the big one at the end of the season, which could be the last war on I-4 for the foreseeable future.
When does
at
UCF
home.
go into the Big 12?
That's next year.
23? Wow.
So that's it seems like that could be it.
USF might be joining them. You never know. You never know.
Not right now.
But yeah, that's an interesting schedule there for USF. But if they can get that BYU win, and I think that's a big if. I'm not exactly sure what BYU has coming back, but they gave them a run last year. They really did
in their stadium.
in their stadium.
And that's a hard place to play.
Yeah. So I mean, and you add a quarterback like this and all the transfers they have. I don't know. If they could get that win, boy, that would set them up to go rolling into Florida at 2-0 for a night game with a win over BYU. And Florida's got a tough schedule to start too.
Yeah, and then we're talking.
Yeah. I mean, would Florida loses to Utah earlier, which is extremely plausible. And then I think they got Kentucky week 2, right? And then they get USF.
They go right into Kentucky?
I think so, yeah. If I'm not mistaken. They may have a Patsy in there somewhere.
It is Kentucky.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Utah and then Kentucky at home?
They don't get their layup until week 5.
So how does Florida's schedule start?
Yeah, they got at home against Utah, at home against Kentucky, at home against South Florida. So they have 3 home games in a row
to start the
season. Then they go on the road against Tennessee. Who constructed this schedule for Florida?
Wow.
Hold up.
Wow.
On the road against Tennessee, then back home against Eastern Washington, and then back home against Missouri. So 5 of their first 6 games
are at home.
And then they have a lot of road games, I guess, in the back half here. But one of them's going to be there in the Jacksonville game against Georgia. So Florida actually has a favorable draw to start their season, I think.
But still,
you got to win those
be
games.
I don't know if they're going to be underdog. I think they might be an underdog against Utah. I don't know. I think Utah.
They could be an underdog against Kentucky too.
Yeah, well, they should be.
Utah just was in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, and I think their quarterback's coming back.
And that's such a hard game though, maybe for Utah, because they don't play in environments like that often.
No.
Start the season and you're obviously all the way in the West Coast and you're coming over here in the East Coast.
Hotter than
Florida's going to be juiced, the first Billy Napier game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that might play well for Florida if they're ever going to beat Utah.
But Florida's defense is so young.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough for them. Well, I can't wait for college
football. We could forget about realignment talk.
Yeah.
We won't say a word about it during the season, probably.
What did I hear Ryan Clark say something weird yesterday? I was going to look into this, but he said something about there's already trouble in Baton Rouge with Brian Kelly. Like people are like, there's a lot of talk that.
Why does it feel so negative around him right now?
I don't know.
Like a lot of people are acting like this guy's not a good coach anymore.
Right. What is that
so
about?
Weird to me. Like,
what is that about?
Like, granted, does he seem like he fits Baton Rouge? Hell no. No, he does
not. But he's
not
a
at
good
all.
football coach.
But he's a good football coach and has won everywhere he's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, Notre Dame wasn't really much to write home about before he got there.
Maybe he's just coming in with, a very disciplined attitude, and it's something. I mean, you go, I mean, think about this. You go from a coach who Big Ed O, who really, I mean,
loose.
that freaking program in the last year or so it's been a complete freaking.
LSU has always screamed loose though.
Yeah.
Like that 2019 team was so much fun.
Yeah.
And loose, having fun,
so
personalities.
Talented, crazy talented.
And then Brian Kelly's been at Notre Dame, which probably feels like a whole different country.
Oh my God.
It's Baton Rouge.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably having a hard time installing his type of culture that he expects these players to adhere to. I mean, it's totally, think about that. Notre Dame and LSU, you couldn't get two diametrically different types of cultures.
Yeah.
And not only in the surrounding area, the school itself, the states, I mean, everything. And you talk about the football programs, it's way different. So hopefully there's some chaos going on in LSU and they're not taking to his culture very well. And they go in against FSU and lay down.
It blows up.
I love every part of that. Yeah, absolutely. So it's so interesting the way this thing is going to start. And by the way, one of the things I wanted to talk about FSU, there's a lot of chatter about them going to the Big Ten. And I know the Big Ten commissioner mentioned
Kevin
Florida.
Warren,
Kevin Warren mentioned Florida State and Clemson and some of these other teams that they're looking at. And you don't really think of Florida State as a fit in the Big Ten. But I'm going to tell you this: I think both the SEC and the Big Ten will want them. And I know some people are, recency bias may say, no, never going to happen. If FSU sucks, they'll just be another patsy in the SEC. I'm like, okay, don't be, do a little history there, pal. Yeah, they were the best program consistently for the best part of 15 years. I'm not saying they're going to get back to that level ever again, but I think they can get back and be as competitive as Florida certainly is in the SEC. So, I mean, personally, I'd like to see FSU in the SEC. I just think it just promotes better rivalries.
It fits so well.
Yeah.
And I'm just shaking my head here because.
Oh, you must have got the lineup today.
Yeah. The Rays, for all of you, they play at 12:35, so right after our show here. I saw the lineup. My goodness. What lineup are we putting out here today? Randy Arozarena and Yandy Diaz are both being given rest days.
So who's leading off today?
Well, you got the three hitters in this lineup, or the two that we know can hit: Brandon Lau and G-Man Choi.
1-2.
Yeah, 1-2. Isak Paredes in the 3-hole, who's been starting to come around. Luke Raley, to give him credit, has been hitting the cover off the
got
baseball
a bomb
last few
night.
days.
Nice.
But 5 through 9, Josh Lowe, Roman Quinn, Brett Phillips, Taylor Walls, and Renee Pinto.
Wow.
5 through 9.
That's like the double-A team. That ain't even Durham.
You won't find
no disrespect, but
no disrespect.
That was really disrespectful.
It was a little disrespectful. It's no disrespect to those players, but if I looked around the rest of the lineups around Major League Baseball today, I don't know if I can find a 5 through 9 worse than that.
Woo! That is not good. Luckily, who's pitching for the Orioles?
Jordan Lyles,
and his ERA is like
4.79.
4.79.
But Yarbrough's on the mound. He's 5.61 and has not picked up a win this year. So.
Hey, real quick, wanted to tell you about Heroes Mile. It's a rehabilitation facility for our veterans run by veterans. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? If you're having trouble focusing, constantly anxious, well, that's common in your place. And it's happening to a lot of the folks coming back from the military. And if you are looking for a place where you can go and find some peace and find yourself again, Heroes Mile is the place. They are staffed by a rehab center that's staffed by fellow veterans who understand what you're going through. Their mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can really, truly understand. That's why they're there. It's located just outside of DeLand. They offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with sexual, military abuse, post-traumatic stress, substance abuse, all those things. So these veterans are there to help you, and they have had great success with this helping veterans model. They are a community care provider with the VA, and they also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, they have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's 888-VET-NOW-2. And tell them JP Peterson sent you, and you heard it on the JP show, not just on the radio. All right, a couple other things I wanted to get to. And again, this is something that pains me to say this, but the Brittany Griner situation, I don't know if you've heard the latest on this. The United States has offered a high-level trade to get Brittany Griner and another American businessman back. And the reporting is that they are going to trade the Angel of Death, who is a Russian arms dealer that has had a hand in killing many, many American soldiers and many people around the world. That's why he's in jail for 25 years. And Brittany Griner, and you never want to see any American held in a foreign country, but she is admitted to bringing drugs into another country. She is, whether you're going to say it was a fair situation or not, we don't know that. I'm doubtful when it comes to the Russians, but the reporting is that she is admitted to bringing those, in the video shows that she had it on her. And it sucks when you're talking about penalties that, in the United States, you would be free. It's not even a crime in many places. But in other places, they have different laws. And if you travel, you need to respect those laws and know what those laws are. And she's likely going to be sentenced to a very long sentence. And obviously, we would love to have her back. But the situation, and nobody wants to say it, it is what it is. And I saw in some of the videos, she was actually wearing a jacket that said Black Lives Matter, which, of course, we said many times the concept Black Lives Matter, obviously. But the Marxist organization that took in over $100 million and did very little with it, except create chaos, has done. And many of the families, including George Floyd's, have called out Black Lives Matter, the organization, for having done nothing to help them. And an organization that has wiped their website of many of these things, but for a long time talked about the Marxist takeover of America. And this is a player that would not stand for the national anthem. In fact, wouldn't even come out for the national anthem. Now, these are the facts. And now we're going to trade a arms dealer who's killed untold many people for a businessman and a basketball player. That's not the way this is supposed to work. And I'm sure we have other prisoners, political prisoners over there that have put their lives on the line and sacrificed a lot and are imprisoned over there. So it's a ridiculous situation, and it actually might even happen. But another example of how we have just gone so wrong in this country in so many ways. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that situation. All right, we will take probably a 22-hour break, and we're going to go to camp in the morning and find out what's going on over there with Ryan Jensen and who's starting at center. And we'll keep an eye on that for you. And we'll get some video out from this morning as well. So check out all of our social media, FanStream JP, at the JP Peterson Show. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel, the JP Peterson Show. We'll talk to you tomorrow.